to the show today. And on the show today, I want to talk about marriage and divorce and death. Now, my opinion, which we're all entitled to our opinions, we each have an opinion. Well, my first opinion is that my dog is the cutest German Shepherd in the world. She's in the room with me today, so welcome to the show. Thank you for joining. You're such a cutie pie. You're a good girl, too. Oh, yeah. On the show today, I want to talk about marriage and divorce and death. Until death do us part, when you make that vow in front of God if you're a Christian. And I've had this cross probably 30 years. It was given to us as a gift for Christmas, 30 some years ago. We're married 43 years, plus it'll be 44 in 1 month. January 13th of 2023, it'll be 44 years that I married my husband. Has it been easy? Has it been all rosy and sunshine? No, it takes work. And right here, the Lord to help you through anything. And on this, my brother-in-law, Bill, made these for us, one for each family. And on it, he had the praying hands on it. And then on it, it says, love makes, man, I'm having trouble seeing in this light. Love makes a house a home. Love makes a house a home. And God is love. If God's not in it, sometimes it doesn't work out. Does God get angry? He does. Jesus got angry and turned the tables over. Does God hate things? Yes. There were 6 things. There were 6 things God hated, and a 7th was an abomination. A person who sows discord among the brethren of the other Christians or people that love God. So, sowing discord, God hates that. Haughty look, someone who sheds innocent blood. Oh, there's 4 more that I can't think of offhand, but you can look it up in the Bible. It's in, I don't know now, Proverbs? I'm not sure. It's probably Proverbs. And then I got this for a wedding gift on our wedding day from a friend, Sharon. And she had our wedding announcement burned on the ends and put on this wood plaque. And I've had this hanging in our house. I'm not saying this helped us to stay married, but it's beautiful and I love it. And it reminded me of the vow I made with my husband on January 13th, 1979. Like I said, it hasn't been easy. There's been rocky roads because of my childhood. I'm not blaming them. I'm just stating the truth that I have emotional dysregulation, which, yes, could be diagnosed as borderline personality disorder and one of the cluster Bs, which I believe I was abused by a cluster B who is narcissistic personality disorder. Yes. And let's talk about marriage and divorce and death. To me, anyway, borderline personality. I did ask my husband last night. I said, I'm borderline is what they say. Anyway, one psychiatrist said I was, and he said that's the only. Because I talked to this psychiatrist, young wet behind the ear guy, who was sort of wet behind the ears, young. And he said he needed a diagnosis to get the insurance money, which didn't pay very much. It was like $200 or $300 per 1 hour session, which was only 50 minutes because they used 10 minutes to get ready and to say they had to leave then too. And anyway, go ahead and, I don't care, spread it around the world. Everybody has something, but I think there's cluster A, cluster B, and cluster C. When I talked to him openly about complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a reaction to what happened to you as a child, because that's how you grew up. Oh, I gotta say this. Excuse me, I have to cough. I think it's the dog hair. The dog is in there fluffing her fluffy fluffers around. She's fluffing her fluffy hair. When I talked to the psychologist, it wasn't a psychiatrist, it was a psychologist. The good news is my granddaughter wants to be a psychiatrist. I think in criminology, I don't take my word because I don't know different, Hello, pups. I don't know different, degrees that you're going to get, but praise the Lord, she wants to help people. I love her so much, and I I love all my grandchildren. I love what they're pursuing in life. Veterinarian or chef or teacher of history. That's beautiful. I love them all 4 of my grandchildren. Now back to the diagnosis. I asked my husband, I said, they say I'm borderline. He goes, oh, you're not borderline. The look he gave. I got to talk to him when he gets home from work today. Does he mean I'm psychotic or sociopathic? I don't know what he's trying to say. I don't know. We're all human and effed up in the head because I'm effed up big time with emotions and emotional dysregulation. I don't know how to react to stuff. I'm learning. I was told by this psychologist, the last one I saw, because I saw 8 or 9 in my lifetime. I'm 65, so the first 5 or 6 I saw, or 7, I don't know how many. I might be exaggerating. It might only be 4 or 5. There's been plenty of psychologists said, oh, you're just too sensitive. Come back and talk every time I go back. They didn't give me answers how I should deal with this and what to do about it until I started watching Richard Grannon on YouTube and Sam Vaknin on YouTube. And I wrote on my paper my last session about 8. I went 8 or 9 times. I'm forgetting, but probably around 8. I wrote on my paper, CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder reaction. Because it's a reaction. It's to what you've been through. And I have emotional dysregulation. There's no doubt about it. You can say all kinds of fancy terms for it, but it's still the truth. My neighbor dogs are out barking. That's what they like to do. Bark at nothing, really. My dog barks, don't get me wrong, and dogs bark. She barks a lot, and a German Shepherd's bark is loud, and she scares me sometimes. When she looks out the window and sees one of the cats, Yehudi and Chewbacca, the dark cat, the gray cat, and the black cat that roam our neighborhoods. Yeah, she barks loud. She yawns really cute, though. So anyway, this diagnosis I wrote on the paper, and he said, but on my last time there, he goes, that's the diagnosis I gave you, borderline personality. I said, well, what are there levels? He goes, no, there's no levels. I said, oh, really? And then he said, this is how I need to diagnose, because there is no CPTSD in the DSM-5. So I have to give you that. And I said, I don't agree. But he said, this is what, if you want your bills paid, you got to sign the paper. Okay, I can't afford 200-300 times 8. That's a lot of money. So I signed it. But he said there's this D as in dumb, D as in day, B as in boy, and T as in time. DBT workbook that'll help you. Now, I read what it's about. I read the whole workbook, and it's helped me a lot. It tremendously helped me. DBT workbook. So if you're having trouble with dysregulation of your emotions, which I still have to a point, and I still have from my childhood things that happen that I still believe happened with my husband and my sister-in-law. I can't help it. I still think it might have happened because I saw so much infidelity as a child growing up, starting at age 7 and then even younger with some of my uncles and what's happened with them and what they have kids from other people and cousin Joey and my brother has a son, Mike, from his wife's sister, who his wife was already dead because she is sex addict. She died when I was 12 and I'm 65 and I'm effed up big time in the head, big time. So I still believe my husband, and I tell him this, and I'm trying not to believe it or trying to just let it go and forgive him. And if I really think it happened, because I love him and I want the rest of my life to be thriving, not just surviving. So I read Pete Walker's book, too, about CPTSD, and it was a really good book. I recommend that. Pete Walker on CPTSD, and it's about thriving, not just surviving. I don't know the title exactly, but Pete Walker's book. So, divorce. So I still have this about my husband, and if it happened, it happened, and he's the one that has to say in front of God for it, or live the rest of his life feeling bad about it or whatever, being sorry for it. If you just be honest and tell me, that would be fine with me too, because I have to forgive him all the time. Every time I think about it and it comes to my mind, I just have to forgive it, which I do, and forgive her too. So back to divorce. back to marriage, and then if you divorce, excuse me, my dog wants out of the room. Go ahead, hon. Now, oh, she changed her mind. Now, look, people are looking at my hand instead of this camera. Get your face down. Go lay down somewhere, hon. Good girl. Lay down or not. You should lay down. Give me kiss. Come on, give me kissy. She wants to play. So back to divorce, when you get back to marriage, in my opinion about divorce or death, until death do you part. It's divorce because of irreconcilable differences, or no fault divorce, they just don't want to stay together, or no fault divorce and your differences, you just can't reconcile, so you divorce. Or the one did cheat on you, the one with my brother, with his wife that was a sex addict. He divorced her for adultery. It was on the papers, adultery. And not that I saw him, but that's what I heard through the family. Anyway, ears. There's ears in this room. She wants to play. Now go lay down. Over there. Now. Go. Lay down. She looks at the wall like, what's on the wall? She's not usually in this room, but she followed me in here. Although she does like that closet over there. She likes to lay in there and feel secure, like it's a little cave for her. So with marriage, you can either get divorced before you die or die. Your death do you part. Now, to me, in my opinion, death is harder to deal with. I'd rather stay with my husband than go through divorce because of the kids. Now the kids are in their 40s. Well, the one will be 40 in April, but kids are older, so we could divorce. And I think if he wants to divorce me, if there's someone else that he loves more or thinks he should be with, go for it, honey. That's what I say. But death, you lose that partner, that person you're spending time with, you're going on vacation with, you're going to visit people with, you're going to church with, you're going to parties with. Although I haven't gone to a party today at church for him because he's retiring from the church as the maintenance person, the facilities manager, taking care of everything. And they found someone, praise the Lord, to take his job. And that's wonderful. But I just don't like goodbyes. I don't know how to emotionally regulate myself to deal with it. I either stay like a stone and just stare, or I'll just burst into the blubberingest tears you've ever heard at funeral. I used to do that at funerals in my 20s and 30s. I didn't even know the person that well, but just knowing they lost their spouse, like when Tim Wise lost his wife, she got killed in a car accident, and I went to the funeral and I just bawled like a bullhorn. And I just don't like goodbyes, and I don't like funerals, and I don't like where I have to go when I'm not regulated. I'm dysregulated, my emotions. And when those psychiatrists, or psychologists, actually, I never saw a psychiatrist. When the psychologist said, you're just too sensitive, they didn't tell me what to do. But the DBT helps you. In fact, the psychologist that had emotional dysregulation started that book, her and some other psychologists together. So hopefully the DSM-5, not the DSM-5, the DSM-6, the next one will have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is real. It's a reaction. Complex post-traumatic stress response. It's a response to what you've been through. Am I crazy? Yeah, I am crazy. I admit it. Should I have been on disability? I don't think so, because I can work and hold a job. I've held down many jobs. But my sensitivities, if someone wasn't appreciating me or I saw something that wasn't fair, I quit. I wouldn't even put a 2-week notice in, like some people do that until they find another job. I did put in 2-week notices, but I mean, I didn't know I had a job, or I didn't know where I was going to work next, but God always provided. But back to divorce, back to marriage, death, or divorce. I think that death is worse. But then again, I know people who think divorce is worse. Divorce is worse. A friend named Barry, who I worked with back at Fort Indiantown Gap in Annville, Pennsylvania, when his wife left him for a car dealer ownership, this rich guy who owned a dealership, he was broken. He was so sad. He said he can't even imagine. He thinks death might be better. She'd just die and leave him, and it was the end of everything. Because now he has to live with knowing his wife, who he loved dearly, and they had kids together, is with another man who is just probably, I'm going to guess, has NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. But that's just my opinion. I don't know if he really had that. I don't even know the guy, but he probably love bombed her and then whatever, lavished her with gifts and all kinds of stuff. And that's why they ended up together. And I heard he did that a few times. So that's all I know about that. But that was Barry's opinion. Abby, the German Shepherd, be quiet down there under the bed. Barry's opinion was divorce is probably harder than your spouse dying. But then my brother-in-law, whose wife left him for another man, he's in his 70s. I think he just turned 70, and she's probably in her late 50s. He's distraught, but he's doing okay. Because he's like, she's still alive. She's with someone else, but at least she didn't die. And he still loves her, but she hurt him. She put his heart through the cheese grinder, or the cheese shredder. Shredding your heart. Grinding like meat. Grinding your heart. I've been through all that. But I still think they had an affair. I have no proof of it, but the way she changed and acted towards me, because she loved me, treated me better than my sisters. She was so kind, and she'd emulate me and things I liked, she liked. I wanted to be a teacher. Guess what? She's a teacher of elementary education. Don't get me started. Anyway, emotional dysregulation. So I'm either a zombie, or I'm bawling or crying, or either I don't know, just not participating, or I'm trying too hard to do stuff to get people to like me. But who cares if you don't like me? I don't care right now. Well, I do care about others, but if you don't like me, I can't change you. And that's whoever treats you bad, that's on them. That's their problem. So Bill is doing fine. I think he's doing great, really. But then the wife of my husband's younger brother, who I thought was screwing my husband. Seriously, I'm serious. I'm not lying about that. Okay, say it nicer. Thought they were having an affair. Really thought it and still believe it, because they were in there. She was like 21 and he was like 26 or 27, 28, because he's a year younger than me. And I said something she didn't like. I put the pieces together and I asked her, and she said she would never have an affair with her own brother-in-law. And she made it like I did everything wrong, that I just attacked her. And as far as death, her husband died. He was 60, he smoked and he drank some rum punch a lot. He was in a job that was really stressful, and he had a heart attack about 8-10 months before he died. Maybe 6-7. He got COVID. He got sick in the hospital. He had diverticulosis or diverticulitis, and he died in the surgery. After the surgery, his heart wasn't strong enough, and my husband's heartbroken, and I feel for my husband. And she just was sort of emotionless at the funeral, because I went back up to Pennsylvania with him and to support my husband, because I love him and I care about him. And I'm so sad that his brother died, and I was going to be going back there to make amends so he could see his brother more. But we lived 18 hours away. So then there's so much more to this with families and in-laws. But anyway, the older brother-in-law that his wife left him for someone else, and he's coping okay, said to this girl, who I personally cannot stand, and it's no contact, I'm going to be honest, and I still don't know if it's yes or no, and my husband has said, I did not touch her, I didn't do anything, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, and he's not going to ever confess to anything he didn't do. So yeah, okay, but I still believe it happened. So just wish he would tell me the truth if it is, but I'll probably never know. I'll go to my grave not knowing. But why should it matter? We're all going to heaven, and we're all sinners, and we're all going for eternity with Jesus. And the joy, all the suffering and pain here, the joy there is going to be tenfold or whatever, so much better than here. But I'm here right now, and yeah, it'll all be only one life. It'll soon be past. Only what's done for Christ will last. I know all that, but my emotional dysregulation. If only my parents would have gave me some self-worth, said, you're doing okay. Just you're doing okay, not what's wrong with you. You're to be seen and not heard. You have no business in this. Didn't you learn anything in school today? Can't you vacuum right? the dishes aren't done. You should have done the dishes. And then when they are done, oh, that's expected. You just do what you're told. Do what I say, not what I do. So anyway, she said to my brother-in-law, whose wife left him for someone else, the one who lost her husband to death a while back, maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago, almost a year now, actually. She said to him, who his wife left him, very cruelly, she said, well, at least she ain't dead. So it's all about her. No compassion. I think she is NPD. Look it up, NPD. You know, it's in the DMP. That's where you take your motor vehicle. DSM. What is it called now? Anyway, it's in the psychological book. And I am crazy. And I'm staying away from people right now. And it's not bipolar. And it's just emotional dysregulation. And I try so hard to just be myself. And I think, am I good enough? I shouldn't even be myself because nobody likes me. I'm a worthless piece of shit. That's what my parents told me. You're nobody. You're worthless. You have no say. I'm going to do what I want. And you're not going to say anything or be upset. You're not allowed to be upset. Ride your bike off the porch. Your knees are all bloody. Oh, get up and brush yourself off. You're not hurt that bad. Why are you crying? And then some of my older sisters even. Your little problems are nothing. There's so many people who have real problems in the world, and your problems are nothing. No compassion, no heartfelt, nothing. Your problems are nothing. You can fall into a bucket of shit and come out smelling like a rose. Because I love the Lord and He takes care of me. You don't think God takes care of you and bad things happen to people? Talk to David, the warrior David. He was King David. Talk to Gideon. God caused things to happen, the ground to open in some cases and swallow the people up. The warriors won, killed thousands and many thousands of people. Those people that got killed, why did they get killed? So David could be the winner and warrior. Why did Gideon win all these battles? Why did we sin and take too many wives? Why did Solomon have 700 wives and 300 concubines? Because of sin. There's sin. Nobody's perfect. I just want honesty from my parents, but they're dead now, many, many years, so I won't get it from them, but from my family. And then some of my family, some of my older sisters are just like, well, we were raised the same, and look how we turned out. We're okay, so you have to be okay too. You know, that's how it was growing up. So, and then the one sister that when I babysat her husband, who was definitely an alcoholic, the things that happened with him were, now she don't remember because she has Alzheimer's. So yeah, I'll probably soon have Alzheimer's too. But marriage, with God in your marriage, love, you can survive it. And praise the Lord, I have. I've survived things from people that are insane because of their childhood too, probably. NPDs are just acting perfect, narcissistic personality disorders. If it's a disorder, it's a personality, that's for sure. Act like they do no wrong because that's how they were raised. Either praised for the good they did and then shot down or spoiled rotten. There's so many different personalities right now. And I was told you are worthless. Not those words exactly, but you won't say anything. You will be seen and not heard. You're not allowed to participate. You're too young. You pee in bed. You can't stay overnight because you wet the bed. But your older sister that's a year and 4 months older, she can stay at Uncle Lamar's. She can go here bowling with Aunt Peg. She can. A year later, you're still too young. You can't do it. And then I'd go off the deep end and say, what the hell's going on? Why? And I'd have a fit of rage. And I was just told, oh, you're not acting like a Christian. You're not acting like a Christian. So anyway, I sort of went off on this, didn't I? But marriage to me, if someone dies, is worse. And to others, their marriage, if they get divorced, is worse. So I hope you're reading the Bible and trusting in God and knowing we all F up sometimes. And just keep dancing. Now I have to go take my German Shepherd outside. Where are you, sweetie? Come on out. Abby girl. Let's go outside. Come on, baby. You ready to go outside? All right, here we go.